Hey everyone, it's Schmuckles. So I missed the PTB release of FNAF and Dead by Daylight. I went on a vacation because I thought the PTB was going to end up being later than it was. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to cover the new killer power, perks, and map. But there were a lot of things that came out of the FNAF chapter that are leading to what some people are considering to be leaks, as well as really interesting theories and rumors for upcoming content in DBD. And I wanted to do a video sort of covering everything that everyone is saying. People think there could be a spider killer coming for the next original chapter in DBD. There's rumors about Jack Baker and Stranger Things coming as the November chapter. Some people would argue that some of these things have been debunked. We'll cover all of the information and the facts of the situation in this video. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want news and rumors videos like this recommended to you by YouTube. The first thing we have to say to start off this video is that Ruthless Leaks apparently was right about the Springtrap power. Ruthless said all the way back in March, Springtrap throws an axe and recalls it to pull survivors. Also has a circumstantial jump scare screen that pops up. Some sort of undetectable feature as well. There are security doors around the map similar to Singularity's EMP boxes where survivors can track Springtrap. 7 security doors, by the way. That was all the way in March before Springtrap's power was public. Springtrap does have a fire axe that he can recall from survivors. And I believe if the axe is in an injured survivor's back, there is a circumstantial jump scare screen that pops up. There's way too many coincidences to actually say that Ruthless did not have access to Springtrap's power early. Keep in mind, a lot of the community was saying this leak makes no sense. The fire axe or having an axe as a part of Springtrap's power, it makes no sense with the character. They thought that this fact debunked that actual rumor, and then it turned out to actually be true. So what I'm saying is that this Ruthless power leak would have been a crazy low probability guess because nobody thought an axe would come in with the power. So Ruthless said, I'll be accepting my apologies in the form of Auric cells. That's really crazy, and one of the major highlights in like the rumors coming from this chapter is that Ruthless actually correctly identified the axe power, and apparently Masuster had known about it as well. And Ruthless has now posted in the rumors tab of his Discord server the September killer, the Jorogumo, a spider woman from Japanese folklore. I might have not pronounced that correctly, but the possible power for this spider woman from Japanese folklore is shapeshifting and trapping survivors in a silk webbing. This is in the rumors tab of Ruthless Leaks' Discord. It's not in the leaks tab. In Darth Cadis' server, he's one of the VIPs from my community. Ruthless was saying that Jack Baker from Resident Evil is going to be the November chapter, and this is after Ruthless correctly identified Springtrap's power. So this is the conversation from that Discord. People are asking, is Resident Evil Part 3 actually happening? And someone asked, is it being in November a rumor, or is it from someone reliable who could have it wrong? Ruthless said, yes, I get a lot of pings, so I rarely check them. And they said, I don't mean to pry information, but is it based on Resident Evil Part 7? Ruthless said, Jack Baker, wherever he's from, which is Resident Evil Part 7. So Ruthless pretty much said right here that Jack Baker is going to be joining in a Resident Evil Part 3 chapter. I'm not clear if this is the November chapter or not. We're going to expand on this later in the video because actually some gaming outlets have actually picked this up and have reported this, which comes from a larger Reddit post. But let's start with the September chapter, the Japanese folklore killer. So there's a lot of valid rumors floating around right now. So I'm pretty sure the basis for all of the rumors with this spider killer starts from something that came on the new map. On the new Five Nights at Freddy's map, there was an arcade machine spotted. There was this arcade game about the Jorogumo, which is a spider woman from Japanese folklore, and people thought this is too wild a coincidence. There's this horror arcade game with this spider woman monster, and the devs explicitly revealed that the September killer is going to be from Japanese folklore. So that started all of the rumors about this Japanese folklore killer being a spider woman. And then people sort of expanded on these rumors on Twitter. DBD is extremely popular in Japan. There has been a spider egg on Macmillan for 4 years. I mean, that's true. That spider egg has been on Macmillan forever, and people have been wondering, is that a part of the entity? The Yamoka Shrine has a rack for 3 swords. There's this picture of what it was before and what it is now. Yamoka Estate was the realm that was brought in with the spirit. The Oni came in and they used the spirit's map to tease Oni, and now people are noticing like there's 3 swords here. Are they teasing 3 different Japanese killers, all related to Yamoka Estate? So if September actually does end up being the spider woman Japanese folklore killer, do you think it'll be connected to the Yamoka Estate bloodline? That was one of the major questions circulating around Twitter the past couple of days. And then this happened too. Someone said, if the rumors are true about the September chapter being the Jorogumo, then I hope they have an accessibility option for arachnophobia. Personally, as someone who has arachnophobia badly, this doesn't trigger my arachnophobia, though I know for some people this will trigger it. And then the official Dead by Daylight Twitter account responded to this thread. Listen folks, the only spiderly limbs we currently plan to to have in the fog are those of the entity. Regardless, this has created a great discussion on topics of accessibility in Dead by Daylight, and we're taking notes. So thank you for sharing your thoughts and concerns on how everyone can have a better experience within the game. And you know, from this, it seems possible, and I think Dweet sort of agrees with this, that this is pretty much behavior confirming that there are no plans for a spider or spider-related killer in the future. Dweet thinks here that this kind of debunks the Spider-Woman rumors that people are saying. Dweet also posted this tentative roadmap too. Here's an official timeline for what to expect summer 2025 in Dead by Daylight. All of the dates are officially announced in public. This is only what's currently announced. We have Chaos Shuffle from June 3rd all the way to 17th. June 17th is the live release of the FNAF chapter. The final Twisted Masquerade begins on June 25th. Casual Collection on July 2nd. Boulay Brothers Collection on July 8th. The end of the Masquerade event on July 16th. And on July 16th, the release of the Waterfront Massacre Collection 2. August 5th is the Tomb Raider Collection. And September is the Frank Stone Legendary Skin on the Trapper. There was really big news too on Twitter with Netflix and Stranger Things Season 5. We had been kind of covering when Stranger Things Season 5 was going to be released, but the date kind of kept shifting because of COVID and things have been pushed back internally. Well, Netflix actually just officially announced that Volume 1 of Stranger Things, which is the first half of Stranger Things Season 5, is going to be released on November 26th, 2025. The same month that the full licensed chapter with a new killer and 2 new survivors is coming to Dead by Daylight. Volume 2 is going to be released December 25th, Christmas Day, and the finale or the final episode is going to be on New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2025. So I think public opinion has really swayed for the Stranger Things Part 2 chapter to be the most likely chapter for November at this point. Volume 1 of Season 5 is going to be released November 26th, 2025. Stranger Things Day is celebrated annually on November 6th, so a lot of these dates are colliding right in November, right when this chapter is going to be hitting Dead by Daylight. November 6th is a Thursday, and I wonder if it potentially could even be like the PTB date for a Stranger Things Part 2 chapter. If that were the case, 3 weeks after the PTB date would be November 27th, which would be the live release of the chapter of Stranger Things Part 2, if that was the case. And that would be one day after Volume 1 of Stranger Things Season 5 releases. So the dates are really well lined up to be a Stranger Things Part 2 chapter. And I think even a lot of people that talk about rumors and speculations in the Dead by Daylight community think that Stranger Things is probably the front runner. And on top of that, on June 3rd, 2025, Fortnite announced, "You're invited. We're dying for you to join us." And this is a Squid Games collaboration with Fortnite. So people were pinging me on this and saying like, hey, like Netflix is collaborating with Fortnite right now. It's always kind of a big deal when you see the major movie IP owners collaborating with third-party video games such as Fortnite, and what that could potentially mean for some of their other IPs with Dead by Daylight. So people thought that this was actually evidence towards Netflix being open to collaborations. So it's got to be mentioned that Stranger Things Part 2 is definitely one of the frontrunners for the November license. Also, the It's Welcome to Derry official Twitter tweeted this out on May 20th. "Get ready to go back to where it all began. Welcome to Derry is coming this fall to HBO Max," and it announced the official Welcome to Derry official teaser. So people were wondering maybe the November license is going to be timed with Welcome to Derry. That was something else too that I was like, the timing could work out for that too. Something definitely worth mentioning, and it'd be kind of a crazy reveal to have Pennywise as that November license. There was rumors of the revival of the Friday the 13th game, and the Friday the 13th, the franchise official Twitter said that the game, the Friday the 13th game, will not be revived in its current state. A brand new game is in development by a different studio. So would that affect the odds of them licensing Jason into Dead by Daylight, or the timing of that? I'm not really sure. We did talk about a lot of the rumors for Friday the 13th and Jason Voorhees in this new look of Jason Voorhees, and probably this is what it would look like if it came to Dead by Daylight, is this new version of Jason. But definitely the pivotal point of this video has got to be this discussion of leaks regarding the Resident Evil Part 3 chapter. This article came out, Dead by Daylight leak claims the third Resident Evil killer, and it's not who fans want. On June 3rd, 2025, this gaming outlet said Dead by Daylight leak claims third Resident Evil killer, but it's not who the fans want. Leak claims Dead by Daylight November chapter is Resident Evil. Shared on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, Ruthless Leaks has reportedly claimed that the November chapter for Dead by Daylight is Resident Evil. It will supposedly include Ethan Winters and his daughter Rose as survivors, with Jack Baker from Resident Evil 7 as the killer. And I just want to note here that although we did see that Ruthless said publicly in Darth Cadis's Discord that Jack Baker was going to be the killer, I don't know if Ruthless ever said that was going to be the November chapter. I think he just said it was going to be an upcoming chapter. And also this idea of Resident Evil Part 3 being the November chapter is now posted in in the leaks tab of Ruthless's Discord server. So we'll go through the subreddit and see what it says, but we're not quite clear exactly when this is coming in or if this is a rumor or a leak. So this was the Gaming and Leaks Rumors Reddit. Dead by Daylight's remaining 2025-2026 chapters leaked through insiders and in-game teases. The Walking Dead, which we've covered pretty extensively. I still think all of those rumors are valid for The Walking Dead for the next licensed survivor paragraph. The Jorogumo, Japanese Spider-Woman killer, possibly being teased through some of the clues in-game in DBD, but also possibly debunked the fact that the Dead by Daylight Twitter said that there was not really any plans to do this. At least I think that's what they were saying. And third, a Resident Evil chapter and a South Korean map. So this is listed on the Reddit tab as a rumor. Dead by Daylight's 10th anniversary has passed with the release of FNAF's chapter in DBD. As DBD's licensing list has increased throughout the years, so has its number of leaks. Every chapter within the DBD community since D&D a year ago has been leaked in some way. Dungeons & Dragons and Castlevania released by the YouTuber leaker Gumpy, the Houndmaster's name, visual design, and the power leaks were leaked in the community roughly a month before her release. Tokyo Ghoul was known to insiders for a month before Ken Kaneki's release into Dead by Daylight. To clarify, Ruthless Leaks does not have a consistent record, but one of his sources is definitely telling him accurate information, as Springtrap's correct power, Tokyo Ghoul, and several other leaks would have been difficult to guess. There are other anonymous leakers in the community Discord servers. For community content creators, Schmuckles, the former DBD Leaks Discord community shut down by Behavior Interactive, and Ruthless himself, who have posted snippets of information that were proven mostly correct that also seemed to suggest future leaks may be true. Springtrap from FNAF was no different, not in the sense that it was difficult to predict that William Afton would be the killer, which was agreed upon before the license was even revealed to the public. Springtrap's power in its entirety was known to insiders as far back as January, who spilled the details to the DBD communities on Discord under multiple aliases. However, these sources had much to say other than Springtrap's power before it was confirmed. According to Ruthless Leaks, who knew the leaked power was real through non-disclosed evidence a few months ahead of schedule, the rest of 2025 schedule is already cemented. That word cemented, I don't know if it's saying like the leaks are cemented or the roadmap is cemented. The roadmap's certainly cemented. The DVD's live stream already gave strong indications to the community that the next licensed release was The Walking Dead in July, with 2 survivors, most likely Rick and Michonne. The Walking Dead was also the last known information from known leaker Gumpy887, who also leaks Tomb Raider, Castlevania, and D&D. Behavior Interactive also indicated that the original chapter in August was Gruesome Killer, based on Asian folklore. Evidence through map assets of the FNAF chapter seemed to indicate the release of the Jorogumo, a Japanese mythological being that is part spider, part human. Insiders have confirmed this description of the killer as well, with a Japanese original survivor likely in tow. I don't know exactly what they mean when they say insiders have confirmed this, but there really was the response by the official Dead by Daylight Twitter that was potentially debunking these rumors, and these rumors meaning the Japanese spider. However, Ruthless has also come forward with a claim about the revealed November licensed chapter, which includes 2 survivors and a killer. Ruthless claims that this chapter is indeed a 3rd Resident Evil chapter based upon characters from Resident Evil 7 and 8. According to Ruthless, this chapter has none other than Jack Baker with Ethan and Rosemary Winters as survivors. And this part is true. DBD developers implied when talking about Capcom that future collaborations were possible and potentially hinting at its possibility. There is no killer in March 2026, but a survivor and a map are in tow from the official DBD roadmap, which not much is known about. Ruthless has heard of a South Korean map based upon the Trickster as a possibility. I think this is something the devs actually publicly said, that this all-kill map is in the works, but was told before the anniversary stream showcasing the 10-year roadmap. In the anniversary stream, Dead by Daylight developers stated that this survivor and map were in a new realm, which ties to an existing original killer. There were more likely rumors in tow as well. Several insiders who posted mostly correct information indicated that a Jurassic Park or Jurassic World chapter was in the cards late last year. However, Ruthless and other insiders who have backed off of this claim after previously supporting it, saying the Jurassic collaboration plans were real, but likely either suffered a significant delay or were cancelled. These insiders also said that Predator, Slenderman, and Candyman will not come anytime in the near future to DBD due to various reasons. And at the very bottom of this post, it says, edited. Apparently there is a quote from a former DBD Leaks owner, Masuster, indicating that November is possibly Resident Evil, as well as from a while back, with a shortlist including Resident Evil, Predator, Stranger Things, and It, with a chapter being one of these. Masuster also knew about the Springtrap Fire Axe power in advance. So that's kind of all the information that came from the Reddit post. Dweet said community director Eric Pope pretty much affirms that the upcoming November licensed chapter isn't Resident Evil 3. There's been a recent rise in assumptions on how it could be, and luckily it isn't. And he just kind of reposted that someone said, just tell me the November chapter isn't another Resident Evil chapter, and Eric Pope responded, why would it be? So I'm sorry if there's a lot of mixed information in this video, and the truth is I'm just trying to organize all of this all the crazy rumors, and I feel like like some of the things have actually debunked it, and some of the things I'm not so sure. So I was like, I'm just gonna post all of it, and I'm sure my subscribers will have their opinions on, you know, what is debunked and what's not necessarily debunked. The final rumor that I wanted to cover was actually something that I saw on Daco's channel. He was discussing these theories in his YouTube video featuring the FNAF DBD PTB. I'm gonna link Daco's video in the description below if you want to see the full video. But Daco thinks that Dead by Daylight might actually be doing something with Foxy in the future. Whether that's a new killer, the November license, an upcoming killer in the future, potentially, I guess, a legendary skin on the Blight. I'm not really sure yet. But just the fact that we kind of see all the animatronics on the new FNAF map, but Foxy and Pirates Cove is like totally missing. I think there's like a blanket covering a box that has a Foxy plushie on top of it.
Let's move on to Pirates Cove, because a lot of discussion's been about that, right?
Yeah.
How weird, right? On the main stage, there's a random container box with a Foxy plushie on top of it.
Yeah.
Do you think Foxy's in here?
Daco thinks that like Foxy's missing, and potentially they're teasing that Foxy's going to be used in the future for something else.
Ooh.
There is an out of order sign.
Oh yeah, so there is.
Sorry, out of order.
Yep. So again, that keeps with the Foxy lore that he is just never to be seen. He's always out of order.
Because why not feature Foxy, right? Just as you feature the other animatronics. He also went on to say like Foxy is the most loved animatronic.
Out of the OG animatronics, one of the most popular and still is today is Foxy, right?
Yeah.
So since Foxy is super popular and you might not necessarily want to break up the band of animatronics, could that mean that Foxy's being used as a new killer or some sort of crazy legendary skin? And that would kind of explain why he's missing from the FNAF map.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, they're holding him back. And I feel like Foxy would be a good killer.
Yeah.
He's got like the running charge and everything, like he could do a charge and stuff like that. So
he literally has
we'll
a
have to
hook.
wait and see. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
You also see a lot of endoskeletons in like the mask or the heads of the animatronics on the map, but you never see Foxy's. You can see like Chica, Bonnie, and Freddy's. You never see Foxy in any shape or form other than the plushies. And there's also like a weird emphasis on the Foxy plushies. Like Foxy plushies are featured a lot throughout the map, but never Foxy's endoskeleton or the head of Foxy's animatronic.
The only plushie that they've modeled is Foxy, which is interesting. I don't think I've seen like a Freddy plushie or anything anywhere.
Yeah, no, there's not. The only plushie is Foxy. Which is interesting again that they would use, which leads me to believe that they are keeping Foxy aside for something important. It's not like Scott's gone, you can have the other three animatronics, but you will not get the rights to Foxy. It's my favorite.
Yeah. It's very weird, isn't it? It's weird.
And I also want to point out here that Daco knows Scott Cawthon really well. He's done interviews. He was invited to the movie set. Like, he knows Scott pretty well, and he has a pretty solid grasp on like the kinds of things Scott would do or the things that Scott might tease. And he thinks that there's a real chance that Freddy will be used for a legendary skin or like a new killer. And another fact I wanted to bring up too in this whole theory is that Matthew Cote explicitly said in an interview that, you know, kids cannot be killed by killers in DBD. Like, kids can't be a survivor, but kids can kill. So like kids can actually be the killer in DBD. And I thought that was really interesting to distinguish, and maybe that's a way that they're going to be able to justify bringing in Foxy as a killer, because I know the souls of the kids are inside of all the animatronics, so technically that would make a kid's soul a killer. And just the fact that Matthew Cote had distinguished this fact made me wonder if that's a piece of this puzzle. They said kids can kill as a killer, but they can't be killed as survivors.
The only thing is where with Scott, I know that Scott doesn't like to treat the animatronics as killers.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see if he's been a bit more lenient for Dead by Daylight with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because it does make sense, because they are trapped children and their souls, they're innocent, and they don't go around ending people.
I don't know if we've ever had a kid killer in Dead by Daylight. I know the American version of the Ring, Samara, who is not in Dead by Daylight, is a kid. But the Japanese version of the Ringer, which brought in Sadako into Dead by Daylight, that actually is an adult killer, not a kid killer. So let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Which license do you think is most likely for November? If people want to know what I think is most likely personally, I feel like the community really feels that Stranger Things is the most likely license for November. There's not necessarily very credible leaks, but rumors pointing towards towards the fact of Jack Baker from Resident Evil 3. So I know some people would be on board with that. That's probably my number 3 option. And my number 1 option, just by omission of any references by the devs, is still The Conjuring. I talked about this in a couple previous videos, but I still think The Conjuring is most likely. I could be wrong about this. I don't have inside information for this, so I'm not sure. But I'm still keeping The Conjuring at number 1. I do kind of agree with Dweet here that if Resident Evil Part 3 was the November license, I don't think the community director would have said anything on Twitter about it. Stranger Things Part 2 does really fit well. I just think it's time for us to see some Blumhouse and Atomic Monster collabs in Dead by Daylight. I think the timing works out well, and I think out of all the Blumhouse and Atomic Monster IPs, The Conjuring fits the best. But I feel like the community is really thinking Stranger Things Part 2. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content like this. That does it for this video. Goodbye.